Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us for this business meeting of Washington County Public Schools. We do have 6 out of our 7 members present, so I do declare a quorum. And we will start this meeting out by starting with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. We will start out by getting an approval for the agenda, and just so everyone knows, we do have an amended agenda to approve. It does not add or subtract anything, it just rearranges the order of our agenda. So do I have, and thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. Do I have a second? Thank you, Ms. Murray. Do we have any discussion? All in favor? We have an approved agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve meeting minutes?
Yes, I move to approve the meeting minutes as presented in the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Gesford. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. Do we have any discussion? All those in favor? We have a unanimous vote on that as well. Next on the agenda, we will move to the public comment. Before I call our first speaker, if I could get the speaker list too, please. Before I call the first speaker, I will read from policy KD regarding public comments. Each person wishing to address the Board of Education is required to sign up to speak prior to the meeting or by signing the log located at the back of the auditorium prior to public comment. Speakers may address any topic concerning Washington County Public Schools. Thank you. Educational environment, student well-being, and school operations. Comments that fall outside these parameters, including personnel or student matters, which clearly identify an individual or individuals, will be deemed inappropriate and redirected to be addressed in a different forum. Each speaker may speak for up to 4 minutes. A timer will be used for each speaker once the speaker begins. The timer will be started and a green light will be displayed. When the speaker has 30 seconds remaining in their allotted time, a yellow light will be displayed on the timer. When the speaker's 4 minutes have elapsed, a tone will sound and a red light will be displayed on the timer, indicating the speaker's allotted time has ended and the speaker's microphone will be turned off. Speaker who is unable to conclude their comments within the allotted 4 minutes may submit the remainder of their comments in writing to the Board of Education via email to boe@wcps.k12.md.us by U.S. mail or by providing a written copy of their comments to the Board of Education at the meeting. At this time, I would like to call up our first speaker, who is David Smith.
Good evening. Who was Tom Garner in education? Did he have an impact outside of a small community? That was the question posed by a board member while discussing a potential name change of Salem Avenue. Fair question in reference to the naming practices of schools in the past. I did research using only internet resources as suggested. I knew Tom from scouting, but aside from his long tenure at Salem Avenue and being well liked by those who knew him professionally, I really didn't know much about Tom the principal. I knew he allowed students to duct tape him to a column at school to celebrate an attendance award. I was sent that picture with the caption, "Check this guy out." I knew from scouting events where former students would run up and excitedly greet Tom and talk to him that he was generally well liked by his students. From my research, I learned that Tom and his staff started what they called the Blitz in 2012, an outreach to the community where staff would go and meet students at their homes before the start of school. I learned that while many or perhaps all principals in the county were rotated or transferred to different schools, Tom stayed at one of the most economically challenged and demographically diverse schools in the county. In fact, he was at the same school with 4 different superintendents, Dr. Morgan, Dr. Wilcox, Dr. Michael, and Dr. Sovine. I learned that he and his staff presented at the National Conference on Model Schools. Salem Avenue was awarded the 2024 Model School status by the Center for Model Schools, which recognizes student achievement and innovation. Just 28 schools in the entire nation received this honor. Salem Avenue is the only one in Maryland. After this, I wanted to research the schools that had been previously named. I would like to credit Julie E. Green, the Herald Mail article from April 13th, 2013. Bester. The precedent for naming schools for individuals or families was set in 1965 when the school system decided to name a school on South Potomac Street for the Bester family. A 1930 deed states that the family sold land at South Potomac Street and Willow Lane to the school board for $24,000, which is about $478,000 today. Emma K. Daub. When the elementary school opened in September 1967, it was named for Daub. Herald Mail archives state that Daub sold a large tract of land to the school system for $40,000, which is about $817,000 today. Barbara Ingram. Businessman Vince Grove donated former Henry's Theater in downtown Hagerstown for use as a magnet school, which WCPS spent approximately $12.5 million to renovate, according to the WCPS website. But again, who was Tom Garner? A son, brother, husband, father, educator, leader, mentor, friend. A man who cared deeply for the youth in his school, in this county, and in scouting. It is true that Tom did not sell land to the school board at a reduced cost. He also didn't donate a building for a fine arts school, nor did he have a 40-year-plus career with WCPS. What he did instead was give 20 years of himself personally and professionally to one school, one community, and thousands of students. A community in which near 100% of the students live below the national poverty level. He worked to create an environment where, to quote Tom, we expect all kids to be able to do well, period. If you speak to those individuals who knew with or worked with Tom in schools, scouting, or the community, they will say that he made everyone around him want to be better, to be the very best version of themselves, to ensure they gave the very best of themselves to the youth they worked with. He encouraged us to be goldfish with kids, to be curious, not judgmental with kids, Burleson said, that there is probably a reason behind why a child could be behaving a certain way, and to look before you act. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Next, we have Marcy Burleson.
Dear members of the Board of Education, Dr. Willow, and President Evans, my name is Marcy Burleson, and I'm the Academic Achievement Coordinator at the 1323. I'm speaking regarding comments made by Mr. Gessford during a recent discussion concerning the renaming of Salem Avenue Elementary School. Regardless of the board's ultimate decision, I believe several points presented deserve some clarification. First, it was suggested that Mr. Garner's influence did not extend far beyond the west end of Hagerstown. The reality is that Mr. Garner's impact reached far beyond any single neighborhood. During my 13 years at Salem Avenue with Mr. Garner, our school was invited to present at the Coalition of Essential Schools National Conference in San Francisco, where educators from across the country come to learn from one another's successes. Salem Avenue presented at the Common Ground Conference, attended by more than 1,000 educators across Maryland, and at the National School Leadership Conference in Nashville, Tennessee, where we shared the results, systems, and school culture developed under Mr. Garner's leadership with principals from across the nation. Salem Avenue was recognized as a model school at the Model School Conference, highlighted for our innovative work and outstanding results. Additionally, we were invited to present before the Maryland State Board of Education in 2023 because the achievements of Salem Avenue stood out amongst comparable Title I schools. These opportunities did not simply promote Salem Avenue Elementary School or Thomas Garner, they promoted Washington County Public Schools on a national stage. The work accomplished under Tom's leadership brought positive recognition to our district far beyond the West End, Washington County, and even the state of Maryland. It was stated that Mr. Garner did not provide 40 years of service to the district. Mr. Garner never had that opportunity to reach that milestone. He passed away at the age of 54 while serving in the very building to which he dedicated his life. What he did provide was more than 20 years of unwavering dedication to WCPS. He did not, in fact, leave behind a large financial endowment or donate land to the district. He was a teacher, then a principal, the son of an Army serviceman, which he was very proud of. While he may not have had monetary wealth to give, he gave something equally valuable: his time, his energy, his leadership, and his heart. His dedication was not measured by dollars donated, but by the countless hours invested in this system. While I've spent much of this time in discussing Mr. Garner's professional accomplishments and influence, what may be getting lost in this conversation is who Tom Garner actually was as a person. Tom was quirky. He was odd in the best ways. He was the definition of someone who danced like nobody was watching. He was authentic, unapologetically himself, and that authenticity drew people to him. More importantly, he had an ear for everyone and a heart for children. He championed some of the toughest kids in Washington County, students that others may have written off or viewed as too challenging. He always believed there was a place for them at the 1323. He saw potential where others saw problems, and he refused to give up on children who needed someone to believe in them. He believed in every child and believed in every teacher. He advocated relentlessly for our building, our students, and our staff. He expected greatness because he genuinely believed people were capable of great things. That philosophy was not just something he said, it was how he lived. Students knew it, staff knew it, families knew it. He offered grace, second chances, and unwavering support because he believed that people could grow, improve, and change. At the end of the day, Mr. Garner's legacy is not simply the awards that Salem Avenue received, the conferences where we presented, or the recognition the school earned. His legacy is found in the lives that he changed, the educators and leaders he grew, the children he championed, and the culture of hope and belonging that he built. Therefore, before concluding that Mr. Garner's contributions were somehow insufficient for this recognition, I would encourage you to take a more comprehensive look. A simple Google search or comparison based solely on years of service or money donated does not capture the full measure of a person's impact. The educators, students, families, leaders, and lives that were shaped by Tom Garner tell his story. His years of service were cut tragically short, yet during that time he left an imprint at Washington County Public Schools, Salem Avenue, and a broader educational community. His contributions are worthy of recognition, worthy of respect, and worthy of a serious consideration as you make your decision. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Burleson. Next, we have Mindy Reeves.
Good evening. My name is Mindy Reeves, and I'm the proud principal of Rachel Carson Elementary School in Montgomery County, Maryland. Before serving with MCPS, I had the privilege of working at Salem Avenue from 2010 to 2017 as a student achievement specialist, lead teacher, and assistant principal. During those 7 years, I worked alongside Tom Garner and witnessed firsthand the impact he had on students, staff, families, and the entire Salem community. I'm here tonight to respectfully ask that you consider renaming Salem Avenue in honor of Tom Garner. Tom was my principal, my mentor, and my friend. I've spent a lot of time thinking about what I wanted to say tonight because Tom's impact can't be measured by a list of accomplishments. And what I keep coming back to are two things that he taught me. First, relationships matter. Tom believed every child deserved to be known and every family deserved to feel connected. The second thing he taught me was to not be afraid to do things differently if it was what was right for kids. One of his favorite sayings was, if it's educationally sound, it's administratively possible. He challenged staff to think beyond what had always been to pursue what could be. 12 years ago, our school team attended the Model Schools Conference. We went looking for improvement ideas. We came back with a vision. That's where the seeds of the 1323 were planted. The Salem Blitz, the focus on community, the belief that we needed to connect with our families. He believed that change started small. We get a few people excited, we let them see the impact, we build momentum, and that's exactly what happened. Looking back, I realized the 1323 was never about a slogan. It was always about belonging. The Salem Blitz was building relationships, and Tom understood that if we wanted families to trust us, we had to show them that we cared enough to know them. So what started as a few ideas grew into a movement. That work that began at Salem eventually led our team to present in Nashville, Ocean City, and San Francisco, sharing our story with educators from across the country. Thousands of educators heard the message and carried pieces of it back to their own schools and communities. When the 1323 staff earned model school designation, I texted Tom to congratulate him, and he replied, "Who knew 12 years ago in Orlando we'd be where we are today? It's been a lot of hard work, and it's going to be hard work, but it's the right fight." That was Tom. Even in moments of celebration, he wasn't focused on the recognition. He was focused on the work. He was focused on the kids. Earlier this year, I learned that I would be receiving the Connected School Leader Award from the Maryland Association of Elementary School Principals, an award given to 8 leaders in the state. Later that day, I learned that Tom was also receiving the same award. I immediately called him because it felt like a full circle moment. Here I was, being recognized for being a connected leader alongside the very person who taught me what that meant. Sadly, Tom passed away before he could receive his award. And at that ceremony, Keith Allshouse, Dr. Jana Palmer, and I accepted on his behalf. And sitting there, all I could think about was that this Connected School Leader Award recognizes leaders who build relationships, strengthen communities, and create a sense of belonging. I was receiving that award because of lessons that I learned from Tom. The way I lead, build relationships, and connect with families and staff were shaped by his example. But I'm not the only one. There are many educational leaders serving Washington County Public Schools today influenced by Tom's leadership, including Keith Allshouse, Scott Wildison, Corey Baker, Tara Berger, Stephanie Saucy, Sherry Palm, Linda Kaczynski, and others. Their schools are different because of Tom. Their students are impacted because of Tom. That's his legacy. Not a program, not a title, not an award, people. When we talk about Tom's impact, we are not talking about one building. We're talking about a ripple effect that started at Salem and continues to spread today through the leaders he inspired. For more than 20 years, Tom Garner poured his heart into Salem Avenue Elementary School and the community it serves. I can think of no more fitting tribute than for the school he loved, the school he transformed, and the school that became synonymous with his leadership to proudly bear his name. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Reeves. Next, we have Roger Stenerson.
Hello, Mr. Evans, Dr. Willow, and board members. Good evening. As you know, I'm Roger Stenerson, Communications Director for Rising to Learn, a nonprofit organization which follows the actions of the Board of Education and reports them to the public. Members of the public are invited to follow us at our website, risingtolearn.com. First, on behalf of Rising to Learn, Dr. Willow, I publicly congratulate you on your appointment as superintendent. We all know your role will be a challenging one, and Rising to Learn wants you to know that we stand ready to advocate for and support what is best for students. Second, I'd like to bring to the board members and to the public's attention this evening that an extensive volume of policies and procedures has been developed to guide your deliberation in decision-making. This volume's available online for the public by navigating to the school's website, then selecting School Board, and then Board Docs. The policies of this board are intended to provide ways in which this board keeps itself between the lines, as it were, on the road to effective school system. Unfortunately, it appears to the public at this time that policies have been disregarded, manipulated, and ignored. Case in point number one, during the recent superintendent transition process, despite repeated requests from the community, absolutely no transparency about the process was shared by the board. Your policy ABA, stakeholder involvement in decision-making, expresses that, quote, "The Board of Education endorses the concept that community participation in the affairs of the school is essential if the school system and the community are to maintain mutual confidence and respect and work together to improve the quality of education for students." Excluding the public from participating in a superintendent search is contrary to this statement, and it detracts from the public confidence in you, our Board of Education. Policy ABA further states that the board will, quote, keep the citizens of the district regularly and thoroughly informed through all channels of communication about pertinent processes. Again, I submit that the board's recent approach to the process of identifying and selecting a new superintendent fails to meet its own policy standard, in that no communication about the superintendent selection process was shared. This concern in no way is intended to reflect on Dr. Willow or his abilities, but simply the lack of communication from the board during the process. Case in point number 2, recently and currently, a large number of citizens appealed to this board regarding the renaming of Salem Avenue Elementary School in Mr. Garner's name. These individuals are indeed expressing their opinion to you as you expressed through your policy ABA that, quote, all citizens will be encouraged to express opinions and educational concerns. Your policy FF, naming and renaming of school facilities and granting of naming rights, states, with exclusions that do not change the meaning, facilities may be named or renamed for an individual who has made a significant contribution to the community. Though there are certainly other individuals who can speak toward Mr. Garner's contributions more clearly and more specifically than I, it's abundantly clear to anyone familiar with the situation that Mr. Garner did in fact make a significant contribution to not just the school, but to the Salem Avenue community. In conclusion, for whatever reason, this board seems to disregard policies. I ask, what is it going to take for you to abide by your policies? A legal suit? Another appeal to the State Board of Education? And I honestly tell you, I hope neither of those things occurs, as I'm sure you do. But to avoid that, we encourage you to live by the rules, the book of your policies. Thank you.
Next, we have Carol Mallon. Carol Mallon.
President Evans, Dr. Willow, oh my goodness, I can't read my own handwriting, and members of the board. I'm Carol Mowen, President of the Washington County Teachers Association, and I'm here tonight to share some comments on behalf of our organization. At the May 19th business session, I shared WCTA's concerns regarding revisions to policy JICJ, use of personally owned electronic devices, following the passage of the Joanne C. Benson Maryland Phone-Free Schools Act. At that meeting, I noted that WCTA supports the goal of phone-free schools and encouraged the board to engage educators, students, and families in a meaningful process that extends beyond an online survey. Our members have valuable insight to offer as WCPS works toward the balanced and thoughtful approach envisioned by this legislation, and I noted that we are ready to collaborate. The next day, Dr. Willow called to take me up on the offer. Together, we planned and convened a focus group of 24 WCTA members on June the 4th to discuss implementation challenges, concerns, and recommendations, and lessons learned from their experiences in schools. Last week, Dr. Willow shared an overview of the group's feedback with the Policy Committee. And tonight, I'm pleased to provide you with the full report, which summarizes both the process and the results. The report was compiled with the assistance of Dr. Kara Burhans and CES staff who helped transcribe and synthesize the participants' comments. While educators expressed a variety of views on implementation methods, there was broad consensus around several key themes: countywide consistency in expectations and enforcement, strong administrative support for implementation, clear communication with students, staff, and families, secure and practical device storage solutions, clearly defined exceptions and accommodation procedures, and adequate training and resources prior to implementation. The most frequently cited concerns centered on enforcement consistency, administrative capacity, loss of instructional time, device security, accommodations, and parent communication. As Dr. Willow shared with the Policy Committee, most concerns raised by participants relate not to the policy itself, but to how it will be implemented. Those details will be addressed through the accompanying regulation that will guide enforcement and procedures in our schools. To continue this work, Dr. Willow has asked that the group reconvene in July after the draft regulation is completed. This will allow educators to review the proposed procedures and provide additional feedback before implementation. Invitations have already been sent to participants, and information has been posted on the WCTA website so that additional members who are interested may join the discussion. For many years, WCTA members have asked to be included in conversations before decisions are finalized. This process demonstrates what meaningful collaboration can look like. Under Dr. Sovine's leadership, we have worked together on a number of important issues, including special education staffing and services, the Williamsport High School asbestos abatement and reopening, and concerns identified through WCTA's Safe and Orderly Schools campaign. I continue to meet regularly with Executive Director of Human Resources, Terry Baker, as my predecessor, Neil Becker, did, and those conversations have helped us make progress on issues raised by educators across the county. As we prepare for the transition from Dr. Sovine's leadership to Dr. Willow's superintendency, I look forward to continuing and strengthening this collaborative spirit. We will not always agree on every issue, but we can agree that our students deserve safe, clean, orderly schools that are adequately staffed and equipped to meet their educational, emotional, and physical needs. When we work together towards those goals, we move closer to fulfilling the mission of the Washington County Public Schools to educate and empower every student to achieve independence and contribute to a diverse and evolving society. Thank you.
Next we have, I'm sorry, I'm going to completely butcher this name. I apologize in advance. Ine Faisal? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, yeah, we'll come back. Yeah, go ahead. You can come on up. I skipped over one. Thank you. And please tell us how to pronounce your name.
Aine Fasil.
Ine Faisal. Thank you. Sorry about that.
You're good. Hello, my name is Aine Fasil, and I'm a student at South Hagerstown High School. Thank you for your service and helping address issues in WCPS. Dear members of the board, I'm here in the concern regarding the elimination of Chromebook use for schools following the bell-to-ban's phone ban. I don't bring my phone to school, and I know for a fact that maybe I may be one of 20 people who don't bring their phone on a daily basis. My parents don't want me to, and honestly, they're valid, because the reality is I'll be distracted by the others. But a Chromebook could also offer itself as an alternative distraction. Since I don't bring my phone to school, I have one less factor to distract me from the work, since having a phone alone distracts individuals by the thought that they could do something with it, which is key to my success to do my work. So oftentimes, I am seeing students' phone usage from an outside perspective, and oftentimes, at least 1/3 of the class would have a phone in their hands or headphones in their ears. But what if there isn't a school, or what if there isn't a phone? Where do they go for entertainment? Chromebooks. Chromebooks has access to YouTube and certain gaming platforms, and even if they may be unavailable, there are always methods to play games one way or another. Also, another obvious large concern would be the damage to our eyes from sitting there from about 3 to 5 hours a day or more on these Chromebooks. So is it worth our eyesight and temptations to prop the internet in front of us, expect work to be done, and possibly waste millions per year on these so-called classroom-changing devices? First, scores have been impacted by the fact that students who multitask using their school devices during lectures or class discussions scored lower than students who didn't multitask, and that paper and pen has led to better memorization and focus without distraction. First things first, the device had caused a distraction and led to further struggle and success. Secondly, those who use paper and pen had been more successful. This means that using a paper is, number one, less distracting, and number two, led to higher memorization. There are multiple sources that say that writing activates parts of the brain that typing doesn't, that causes stronger memorization. Also, 56% of educators have said that off-task behavior on laptops, tablets, or desktops has been a major source of distraction that cut into students' learning time, with a poll by students showing that 80% of the teachers who took the poll believe that 1% to 50% of time in class is wasted on Chromebook distractions. Also, the fact that we have Chromebooks has always raises a concern for parents and teachers for whether an individual is doing their work or not. The daily usage of is about 2 or 3 or more hours a day, and often leads to blurred, fluctuating vision, headaches after schoolwork, frequent eye rubbing, and discomfort. Since kids like us are still vulnerable and as our brains and visual systems are still developing, we are at risk for permanent brain damage and eye damage. But not just us, but even younger kids that receive their Chromebooks in the first grade and generally elementary use it for hours. This obviously and definitely needs reform. Looking at the opposing argument, being that assignments and work can be done at any time as long as it's prior to the set dates when it's due, and that work can be done much faster when written by hand, especially in larger assignments or projects as well. Including the fact that infinite information is available, collaboration is easier, and research and organization can be improved upon. Looking at the flip side, I believe due dates on digital make people lazy and want to do it last second because they know that they don't have to do work in class nor outside of class until they have 5 hours left before the midnight due date. But with paper assignments, you have to finish your paper assignments right there in class, or it has to be done quickly right after school in order to end it in the next day, leaving no space or opportunity for procrastination. Also, making paper projects are very engaging, and the fact that endless information is available is not what it's all cracked up to be, as there's misleading, false, and untrue information. So to reduce or eliminate the usage of Chromebooks and in general, we need to eliminate one-on-one technology at all costs and no need to take them home. But the best way to do so is to eliminate Chromebooks from the classroom and use a joint bill or a separate bill, such as just like the bell-to-bell ban, to legally and completely ban Chromebooks. In conclusion, if phones are being banned, let's also legally ban or at least restrict Chromebook usage as well, as it offers as much of a distraction and impediment. Thank you.
Thank you, Anae. Thank you. Next, we have Mark Bergeron.
Board, thank you. Sorry. Thank you. Just have to say, what an impressive young man right before me. That's a tough act to follow. I agree. My name is Mark Bergeron. I'm a resident here in Washington County. I work for Scouting America as a district executive. All that is a fancy way to say I help facilitate the mission of scouting right here in Washington County. Prior to that, a little bit prior to that, I had the privilege of also working for WCPS for a brief period of time, and I'll get back to that. I had a good idea of what I was going to say up until I heard a bunch of people going before me and saying some various things, and kind of changed how I wanted to present this. You see, back in 2021, I retired from a career after 26 years, thinking that I knew the best and worst in people, thinking that I knew what a hero truly was. And I always had that saying, or always heard the saying, never meet your heroes. When I met Tom Garner, he most definitely was not one of my heroes. When I got drug into scouting and started going to various events, and my wife was dragging me out to campouts and camporees and summer camps and other various meetings, and here was this guy always there. And not only was he always there, there was always a group of people just drawn and attracted to him. Kids coming up, adults coming up, everybody excited to see Tom. And that just kind of bothered me. Tom, you're already doing so much. You're the principal, better part of 20 plus years. Aren't you doing enough? Haven't you seen enough? Aren't you doing enough? Why do you got to be here? Why do you got to be doing this? Why do you got to be taking all the attention everywhere you get? Right? I learned something, something I didn't know, something through blind arrogance that I wasn't aware of. Tom knew something I didn't know. Tom didn't measure his success in his personal accolades and what he was doing and how he was doing it. Tom measured his success in something I didn't find out till much later, is how did he help other people achieve their success? And how did he encourage them to continue and help other people achieve their success as well? You can see behind me in this room all the supporters, and it goes much deeper than this. The people whose success totally relied on the fact that there are people in this world like Tom. I say that there are very few people in this world like Tom. I could count, after 26 years as a Baltimore City cop, after working here at WCPS, and after my years in scouting, I could count on one hand of the people that have truly made me take a measure of who I am and what my life's about and how I conduct myself. Tom is on the top of that list, no doubt. When I was here at WCPS and shortly after when I accepted my position into scouting, he was one of the people that reached out to help keep me on track and make sure I was doing the right thing at the right time with the right people. He was one of the people that inspired me to keep on in those days where you just don't want to keep on. Yes, working at WCPS was an absolute eye-opener. I had no idea what the faculty at WCS goes through on a daily basis, and I thank goodness for that experience. Continuing on into scouting was an eye-opener, realizing, hey, you know what, my 26 years where I thought through blind arrogance what heroes were, what true leaders were, I had never really met a true leader until I came across Tom. What a guy, what an amazing example. This man has sown his legacy into this community for the better part of over 20 years, into scouting for the better part of the same length. I can't imagine there is a person in WCPS, regardless of tenure, that doesn't know the name Tom Garner. I would just be shocked. There's not a person in any circle that I've ever run into that when that name is mentioned doesn't just come up with stories of greatness and wonderful, not of what he did, but what he did for them and how he changed lives. That's what we all be claiming to do, is changing lives. We say, hey, we're WCPS, we're educators. What is our goal? Our goal is to change lives. Our goal is to prepare people to be the leaders of tomorrow. That's all Tom did. That's all he knew. He spent more time than maybe anybody else in this room or anybody else I've known making sure that that mission happens and that mission continues. I can't imagine a better way to continue his legacy than to consider this name change for Salem Elementary. I will end with saying, personally, I could speak to what Tom did for me. If he can change an arrogant, hardened, stubborn guy like myself to change the way I conduct my life and who I conduct my business with, this is the person that we need to remember in our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bergeron. Next on the list, we have Sean Porter.
Alrighty, guys, it's the middle of an election season. I just want to start out with, before the meeting started, a lot of you overheard comments between me and Linda Murray. Linda Murray told me that she was, in fact, a vampire. And that is the only thing Linda Murray has ever said that I actually believe. I'm here to speak out in support of good conservative board members such as Mike Gesford, Darrell Evans, and potentially a future board member, Ethan Lowen. 2 years ago, we got rid of all the whack jobs like Melissa Williams and Stan Stauffer, the people that push gay pornography in elementary and middle school kids' libraries. They're gone. As a result, David Savine, the communist whack job who hired people from Montgomery County to destroy WCPS, he's gone. He's looking for a job in Baltimore County. He's got 3 other contenders to be superintendent in Baltimore County. So hopefully he's unemployed soon because honestly, he is a bastard. And I believe he is directly responsible for the actions of WCPS that harmed my minor child, baby Sean. So he is gone. We elected you fine board members to do exactly that, and you did it. You got rid of that guy. You got another guy. This other guy seems to be really good. He seems to be from the area. I looked into his background a little bit. He was never sued by the parents of 48 different disabled children like Dr. David Savine was. So good riddance to him. And now that he's gone and we have a proper superintendent, I'm guessing that all the problems we had recently at Bester Elementary School will subside, and this guy will actually take accountability for the school board and not just blame everyone else for his shortcomings like Dr. David Savine. Just to give you an idea of the difference, Dr. David Savine would hide in that back room whenever people would come into these school board meetings and not meet parents or citizens or taxpayers. He would hide like a coward back there. This guy was in the very front at the door talking with everyone coming in, and he shook my hand. That's a real man for you. Thank God our school board delivered, and we have a good superintendent now. We still have one woke, leftist, libtard communist left on this school board, and that's Linda Murray. Hi, Linda. She asked me not to come after her tonight, but because there's an election on Tuesday and early voting is continuing all the way till 8 p.m. Thursday evening, I wanted to make sure people knew who the good school board candidates were. Mike Gesford, good conservative guy, won't convince your children to transition from a boy to a girl or allow men in little girls' rooms. Darrell Evans, a man with magnificent hair. He's right there. He's the president. Vote for that guy. Ethan Lowen, he's good as well. He also has magnificent hair, just like Darrell Evans, equally so. And you got to make sure you don't get fooled by these people who say that the school board is nonpartisan. You can either vote for a bunch of communists, Wes Moore supporting libtards like Linda Murray, Peter Bickford, and Robin Merchant Spickler. I'm sorry, what? Go fuck yourself.
Please continue. Please continue.
Fuck you.
Please continue, Mr. Porter.
I'm not going anywhere. You gonna fucking remove me?
Mr. Porter, please continue.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to run over time just a little bit to make up for my having to yell at these woke communist libtard sons of bitches behind me in the audience who rudely disrupted me here this evening. Anyhow, so make sure you guys get out to vote. We have a lot of communists to throw out of office like Gina Cerencione, sometimes called Gina Cerencione. She's actually a Democrat. Had a Kamala Harris sign in her front yard and voted for Kamala Harris the last election cycle, running in the Republican primary against attorney Adam Gravel. Adam Gravel was on the Republican Central Committee and is an actual Republican. Remember that when you go to vote. We have 2 remaining Washington County Board of County Commissioners left from the old board. That would be John Barr, the man accused of molesting minor children in Washington County, at least according to circuit court records. And then we have Jeff Klein, a guy who killed James Shipley in a DUI accident, said he would never drink again, and then continued to do so all the way up until now, as far as I know. So we have choices here in Washington County. We need to make sure we get the woke nonsense out. We need to vote out the rhinos like John Barr and Gina Cerencione and get good conservatives in here because this is a majority Republican county and we don't deserve trash like Gina Cerencione or Linda Murray contaminating our government anymore. Thank you for your time. Boo.
That is the last speaker that we have signed up. There is still room for a couple more. If anyone else did not sign up, I'll open it up to 1 or 2 more speakers that would like to speak. Yes, sir, come on up. Please give us your name.
My name is Anthony Holmes. I work at Salem Avenue Elementary School. I would not have been there if it wasn't for my brother, Tom Garner. As a single dad, my son at the time was I had just moved up on Wakefield Avenue in the West End, and I would take him to school, and I was always approached by Tom Garner, hey, I need you to come work up here with us. I need you to come up here, and I kept avoiding him. So one day, I kept going up there. He got me. And I was only going to plan on staying for like 5 years. October of this year will be 19. So I watched. And y'all want to talk about did he get out there in the public? That man personally came to my house to make sure that me and my boy was okay. I done walked with that man, not just in the West End. We rode around in his black SUV that he used to ride around in. We went to other people's houses, not just in the West End. We personally went to see if they was okay, if everybody was okay. I was there with him. You know, I don't want to sit up here and cry. That's why I brought this towel with me. I'm gonna just say this. He deserves this change. He deserved it. He was not just my friend. I knew him in Scouts too. Can you imagine sharing a tent with him? Can you imagine some of the jokes that he tell? Everything was funny to him. I've never ever been into a school where the principal kept his door open to the staff, to the students, to anybody that came in that building. He always kept that door open. You don't have to make no appointment to see him. Just come in and request it. I guarantee he'll talk to you. Like they showed that picture, they taped him to the pole outside the school. That's the only man I know that would get out there and play with the kids. As I walk through them hallways right now in Salem Avenue, you can still hear his voice in there. See him riding down the hallway in that little tricycle that he would ride. See him standing up in the hallway with little kids playing hacky sack in the hallway with him. He's always been, I'm gonna use the word hands-on. There's something wrong with any kid, he's there. He's been there for me. He taught me how to do what I do. Every year I keep telling him, I'm leaving. No, you're not. I tried to hand him my WCPS badge? No, you just hold on to it because you ain't going nowhere. Like I said, October be 19 years at the same school. Other schools has called, wanted me to come to their school to help them out. He sent me sometimes to some of these schools around here. Winter Street closed down. I went there a few times. I've been to Bester. If y'all want to know, I'm a lunch aide. Y'all don't have no lunch aides that's been in the same position going on 19 years. I know you don't. I know you don't. I was thinking about leaving this year. No, but the principal at the school told me I better not go nowhere else. He was going to beat me up. So I got to stay. And the reason I came back, let me tell y'all this. The reason I came back, now I'm going to need my towel. Last year I came back to the school on this October day. Me and him was in his office talking. I always bust in their meetings. Don't ask me why, I just do. It's just something I do. They can have a meeting with the door closed. I'll tap on the door and just go right on in. I don't know if there's many people that can do that. Anyway, but on this certain day, he said, look, I need you to come up here. I need to talk to you. I need you back here. That afternoon, I went to go back to talk to him. I couldn't get into school. I couldn't get into school. People was calling me, and I asked them, I'm sorry, y'all. I hung up on people because I didn't want to hear no bad news, but when I did hear it, I hung up on them. Let me tell y'all, Tom Garner is great. He's not just a West End man, he's all over. He's out of the state of Maryland. He's everywhere. I've been with him. This would be the best honor that you can give anybody. Anybody. I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Next, we will move on to board member response to public comment.
Yeah. So I'd like to thank Vanessa Wood, who came here. She was a bus driver, and she invited us to come along with her. So I took her up on that one day, and I went with her on her route with her bus aide, and there was a behavioral specialist happened to be going along that day. So first of all, I'd like to thank her for letting me ride along. I had 16 phone calls that I met with through phone conversation with bus drivers, and I did sit down and talk to one bus driver individually. I just wanted to talk and tell you what I found out. The top priorities that these folks talked to me about, along with the bus driver, respect for our bus drivers and our bus aides by the administration. They say there's a lack of that, and they feel like the students also disrespect them, and they would like to see more respect from our administration. They say there's a lot of yelling going on, cussing at the bus aides. It is very distracting for bus drivers to have to discipline students if there's not an aide on the regular gen ed buses. With the fact that there was no discipline for the students, when they would ask the principal or assistant principal when there was an incident, that evening there was really no consequences for that student. They came back on the bus and they felt like there was just nothing there for them to say, you know, hey, you did something wrong. There was no consequences, and they feel like we don't listen to them. Salary was another issue that they talked about. They love their job, but there are numerous bus drivers that are looking for jobs because they feel like they're not listened to, and they would like to have some respect, and they would like to have the salary that goes along with that. And I think I understood that through conversation with a couple of them that there were some mechanics that were doing a lot of driving, and those drivers, those mechanics are probably looking for jobs also, because that's not really what they want to do. They don't want to be bus drivers. They want to be mechanics. So we need to listen to that. While that behavior specialist was on the bus, I asked the aide, I said, what kind of training do you receive? And she said, well, we have a first aid training. And she stopped, and I said, well, do you do like stop the bleed? And she's like, I don't even know what that is. And I said, do you have any kind of training on de-escalating situations where we have a special ed student that may be acting out? And she goes, no, we don't have anything like that. And I said to the assistant, the behavior specialist, I said, is there anything that you might be able to do? And she says, we can provide training throughout the year on those type of topics, to redirect these students. I also felt like the bus had 5 students on, and for a large bus, that may be kind of overkill. And the bus drivers also agreed with that. They said they would like to have some smaller vans, maybe for some individuals who, that need a little bit more private, I guess, when they take them down to their schools, because with them acting up, it makes all the other students act up. And she said in one case, she had one that opened up the back door of the bus and ran because this one student was acting up, this student was undressing. And she says, we deal with that type of activity a lot. So I said, well, we need to address that. She says, what are your thoughts? And I said, I think smaller vans might help to drive that one student, to and from their school. I know that I looked at the salaries. I think we're probably in the ballpark, but maybe we should reevaluate that for those. I also I asked the bus drivers about when we talked about their salary, and she said, I applied for this position on this bus as an aide. She said, and I was not given it. She says, and I wanted the benefits. Another person was given that position, and that person left after a few weeks, but they took the position and gave the benefits to that other person, and then they actually called that aide back, but didn't give her the benefits, and she was on that bus the whole time, all year. And I really don't think that's appropriate. I think that aide should have had that those benefits throughout the year, and I think that's something that we need to look at. It's the little things like that that really affect our staff. And I think if we're really going to be a team, we need to treat everybody on the same level. I mean, I know that there's principals and vice principals, there's custodians, but we're supposed to be a team, and we can't treat people like that and expect them to stick around. So, there was a lot of things that I think we really need to address and look at that. There was no special day for the aides. The one bus driver said she had to actually start a special day. She did get some help through HR. She said, but, it's like we're thought of second hand, and we do a lot of work for our bus drivers, and they really take the time to work with students, especially in this special ed bus that I was in. There's a lot of work for that aide. So I think we just need to reevaluate this whole situation and see what we can do. So, there's a lot of things that we talked about, and I plan to continue. I got some other bus drivers that would like to speak with me. So I just want to say, I appreciate her coming to us, the board members. I know all board members can't do that, and I was lucky to get in there towards the end of the school year to visit with her and her aide, and I hope that we can readdress some of these issues, because we don't need to be losing bus drivers. We don't need to be losing any mechanics, and I really don't think our mechanics should be driving on a regular basis. So I hope that we can look at that, and in the future just reevaluate the situation when it comes to teamwork and respecting our bus drivers and our aides. So overall, I think they love their job, and I don't think they want to leave, but I think sometimes there's days that they just say enough's enough. So I just felt like I just wanted to report that. So thank you.
Mr. Jesford.
Yep.
Yes, Mr. Burkett?
I just wanted to say a few things on the name change. You know, we kept hearing somebody mention policy tonight, but, you know, sometimes it takes time. And hopefully when you're talking about something as serious as changing a name, and I think it's serious because there is controversy on both sides of it, and I think, you know, it should be appreciated that you take time to consider. And as I thought about this for the last several weeks and have reached out to other members of the community, because there are some members that want to keep it Salem Avenue. It's been that forever. And so as I thought about it, you know, I think we should. When you're looking at naming a school, I think it is something that should be done carefully and thoughtfully. And so I was speaking to another board member, and I said, you know, what about Tom Gardner Salem Elementary School? You know, with that name, I think we accomplish both things. I believe it puts his name on the school that he loved, and while keeping the name of the school he loved. So I would ask that my fellow board members consider that, Tom Gardner Salem Elementary School. I don't know how everybody else feels about that. Everybody, you know, but anyway, that's what I wanted to say on that. I do think that, you know, when it comes to stuff like that, I think it should be appreciated that you take time to really think things out and talk to everybody or as many people that are willing to talk. So that's all I have to say about the name change of Salem Avenue. I'm for it, but maybe, and if you have anything, I'd love to hear you. My email's public. Send me your thoughts. If you don't like it, if you think it's a nice compromise. So anyway.
Thank you, Mr. Burkett. Yes, Ms. Murray?
I want to thank everybody from Salem Avenue who came out and spoke. I agree with you. I think the school name should be changed. I worked with Tom. I know what a great guy he was. And I have a question for you. Are we ever going to enforce policy KD? Everybody else up here is a darling person. The superintendent got attacked. He's not here. I'm a vampire. I'm this. I'm a whatever. Let's start enforcing the policy, please. Sick of it.
A couple things. Thank you for everyone who talked about Tom Gardner. I did not know him personally, but I said at the work session I am in support of changing the school name. And honestly, hearing everything about him makes me wonder if we should have like a training program or like a Tom Gardner, like teaching other schools. If there was so much great things he did, like how can we replicate this throughout the county? Also, Mr. Fossil, I hope I said that right. I really appreciate you coming and talking about Chromebooks and phones. I think you're probably in the minority for our other students because you guys have been raised on phones, and I partly was getting into high school, but I'm very concerned about your health, about my health even on my own phone. So really, I appreciate you coming out and speaking. And then the one comment about KD, I don't think it applies to elected officials. I could be wrong, but I think it's only staff.
Yeah, I mean, we can look at county commissioners for why I didn't cut that off. It's pretty clear. I'm not in the mood to lose a lawsuit when that happened. I mean, I come up here and I get attacked and I don't cut them off either. So I don't realize what the problem is. So, you know, and I'm just thinking, you know, it's a shame that people do go and abuse the system, and I don't agree with the antics of it. But at the end of the day, court cases have shown that if I went and cut him off there, then I would have got sued. The man has been clear that the man has a right to go and say stuff that we don't like to hear. I don't like to hear it, but I mean, I don't know what you expect from me. With that being said, with that being said, it is really meaningful when so much of the community does come out and support Mr. Gardner. I'll be honest with you, I was really on the fence about it when I first heard about it, and the more and more people I do see coming out in support of him, it's pretty clear that I think we probably should be doing something for him here. So I know we spoke about it in agenda planning earlier today, and there will be another discussion about this in the July meeting. So y'all can look forward to that. We do only have one meeting in July, so we can look out for that. But you know, it's a shame that, you know, we come in and most people do want to have respectful dialogue, and then, you know, it just gets turned off the rails. I apologize if people had to sit through and listen to it, but, you know, it's not like I could go and change the laws or rules or anything like that. So, all right, with that, we'll move on to old business. We have the approval of the second reading of the policy that Mr. Facile spoke about.
Good evening, President Evans, members of the board, and Dr.
I'm
Willow.
sorry, could we wait 1 second? The
Sure.
public can't see the sign language people when people are standing.
Surely.
All right, thank you, sorry about that.
No problem. Good evening. The Board of Education approved the first reading of proposed changes to policy JICJ at its public business meeting on May 19, 2026. Following that approval of the first reading of a survey was sent to stakeholders in order to receive feedback about the changes to the policy. The committee reviewed the survey results at its public work session on June 11, 2026. We did also discuss, as Ms. Mowen referred, the focus group results as well. The board at that time, and the policy committee, did not offer any additional changes to the policy after the first reading. So the policy committee is now recommending that the board approve the second reading of those proposed changes. I'll defer to Dr. Willow to present some additional information.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, board members. I did want to provide an update because not everyone is able to come and attend policy committee. We thought it was important to share with the general public what we saw in regards to our survey. And so, as a reminder, there is a law that's passed, Maryland Phone Free Schools Act. A lot of the feedback that we initially received was around, well, maybe we should let students have them during class changes, or maybe we should let students have them during lunch. That's actually not allowed by law. The law says that students cannot use cell phones during the school day from the first bell to the last bell. And I want to make sure that that's important because that's not really our choice when we look at this policy. It's the way the law is written. And I think there was a lot of confusion around that when we looked at the survey results. Survey was widely distributed, and we had over 3,500 responses, which for this period of time, I would say is a really successful survey response. You can see out of those 3,500 responses, generally, slightly over, right around 55%, either strongly support or support the policy. The thought was to go a little bit deeper. On this slide, it just talks about the benefit of cell phone, personal devices, social media during the school day. If we limit it, do you believe that that would improve the learning environment? Again, a little bit more strongly agreement on this particular topic. Where I think I want to spend a little time here. When we broke this down by group, the level of support drastically changed. And so when we look at staff at the secondary level, over 90% supported the policy as written. elementary students, middle school students, and high school students, there is a little bit of a decline as we go through. And I will say, I'll call it a slight decline, with only 23% of our high school students supporting this. It's important because out of those results, about 1,500 students took this survey. So they are a large sample of the survey results. Parental support was mixed. It was overall generally supportive, but again, the fewest, or the least amount of support, I should say, was coming from high school parents. Community supporters who didn't identify as a staff, student, or parent generally approved the policy as well. One of the things that we talk a lot about is sort of the why. And I want to spend a little time on this because I think this is some interesting data. So you have 3 lines, and I'll learn going forward to wear my glasses, but I'm going to do my best to make out those 3 lines for you. You have, when we look here, we have internet access, we have cell phone access, and we have social media access. And I highlighted some things in here that I think are important. When the first phone was released, the iPhone, when Instagram was released, TikTok, the things that our students are using. And I want to just point out that this sort of explosion we see is really from 2010 to 2020. And if you look at that 2010 to 2020 mark, we start from around 40%, and it's closer to 80%. Now keep that thought in mind, because we know when we look at this data and we look at adolescents, we see high schoolers are using social media nearly every day. It's not a shock. And again, you can see that 2010 to 2020, the percentages continue to climb. This is the average daily social media use. And I want to point out here, I'm not talking screen time. This is not cell phone screen time. This is social media use. If we added screen time, we're close to about 9 hours. Folks, that is more in the course of a year than we do instructionally. Let that sit in. We instruct about 7 hours a day for 180 days. This is our screen time use. So I can't sit here and make some correlations to this data because I'm not qualified to do that, but I am going to present some data points to you that I think matter. And I think as a community that matter. And I want to be clear, no one here is against technology. No one here is against cell phones. What we're talking about is finding balance. We're not going to go to a world where there's none of this exist. There is value to some of these resources. But the explosion, I want to point out too, anxiety and depression, that were relatively flat until 2010 and then take off all the way through 2020. Why did we choose to stop at 2020? Because sometimes those that do the reading on this are quick to point out that the pandemic may have caused some of this. Notice we stopped long before the impact of the pandemic. That's not to say the pandemic wasn't a cause here. There could be other things at play. But when we look at the explosion in anxiety and depression, I can't help that correlates very, in my opinion, strongly with what I just showed you with social media use and screen usage. And unfortunately, this is not equal. This impact has been far more on our female student population than our male student population. And again, when you look at 2010 and you go all the way to 2020, you see some pretty, I think, this tells us something. And so I think that part of this has to do with what we talk about, what's happening on social media and what we're being exposed to and the constant pressures of impression. And I'm going to I do have more in my superintendent's report to talk about Chromebooks and some other data points, but it really doesn't apply to this policy. I would argue that there are some things for young adults that are also impactful. And if you're interested in learning more about where this data comes from and next steps, when I get to the superintendent's report, I will share some additional data points with you. But I want the public to know, yes, there's a law And to be compliant, we could just say we're following the law. But I think there's deeper issues here at play, and as leaders in our community, I think that we, while can't control everything, we can work with parents, we can work with staff, we can work with students to not eliminate, but to reduce screen time. And in this particular case, we'll narrow it down to just what we can control with cell phone policy during the day. And with that, I'll turn it over for a motion.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Will, for that. We do have a request for a motion here, so do we have a motion?
President Evans, I move to approve the second reading of the proposed changes to policy JICJ entitled Use of Personally Owned Electronic Devices.
Thank you, Dr. Zetmeyer. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Burkett. Do we have any discussion?
Yeah, I would like to say something.
Yeah.
And I am an RN, so I can speak to some of it. There's a reason why Silicon Valley does not allow their students to use screens. There's also a reason why we have 90-second attention spans. There's a reason why our teachers are having more problems teaching when there's a 90-second attention span. The rise in anxiety and depression stymies me. But what is even worse is when screen time exceeds 7 hours, and as we talked about with social media, and then you add anything else, the cortex in your brain thins, much like what happens with dementia. So this is not a punitive thing, but a protective device for our students and our teachers. And I'm hoping that while we do this, we're able to educate everyone on the dangers of having too much screen time.
Thank you, Dr. Zetmeyer, and I'll just add to that, and I apologize again if I mispronounce your name, Mr. Facile. You put it far more eloquently than I'll be able to, but I think the biggest concern is the distraction, and first of all, kudos to your parents for helping you realize that as well, so I really appreciate that. But with that being said, when you're distracted, really you're not present. You might physically be there, but you're not present. And you know, we do have truancy laws, and obviously this is not the spirit of those truancy laws, but there's a reason why those are in place, is because this is important for our youth. And, you know, we just had probably the last 10 minutes or so of reasons why all these electronics are bad if we don't do anything at all about it. So, you know, so I think this is going to be a great start for hopefully what I think will be many more changes. To your point, as far as the Chromebooks goes, unfortunately, the state requires all of the state testing be done online. So at some point, we need to have those, and there needs to be some kind of a use. And at the end of the day, there is still going to be the use of technology in your professional and adult careers. So at some point, we do still need to not just shun it, but still use it respectfully. So I really appreciate what you had to say about it. And with that, if no one else has anything else to say, I think we can.
Just a clarification. It says in here that the state is requiring it for the 27-28 school year. Are we following that, or are we going to start our 26-27 year?
26-27.
26-27, so that should be maybe.
It does require it in 27, 28,
right.
so that is part of the law, but
So should
unless
our-
you choose to do, once you pass policy, it will be effective for 26, 27.
We don't have to change it and put the dates in there? Okay, just clarification.
Very good. All right, with no further questions, comments, we'll move to the vote. All those in favor? We have a unanimous vote. Thank you. And next, we will move on to new business. First item in new business is going to be an MOU between the Board of Ed and the Teachers Association.
Good evening, Dr. Willow, Mr. Evans, and members of the board. I have joining me Carol Mowen, the president of the Washington County Teachers Association. And we are here to ask you to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Washington County Board of Ed, the Washington County Teachers Association regarding a modification of Teacher Article 13.7, specialized unit member assignments for in-person speech-language pathologists.
Thank you very much. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Washington County Board of Education and the Washington County Teachers Association, Inc., regarding a modification of Teacher Article 13.7, specialized unit member assignments for in-person speech-language pathologists.
Thank you, Ms. Beachley. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Murray. Any discussion? All in favor? We have unanimous approval. Thank you very much.
All right, and we have a second MOU with Washington County Teachers Association this evening for your consideration. To approve the memorandum of understanding, we're asking you regarding a modification of Teacher Article 13.7, specialized unit member assignments for employees who hold National Board Professional Teaching Standards certification but do not meet the state definition of teacher.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Washington County Board of Education and the Washington County Teachers Association regarding a modification of Teacher Article 13.7, specialized unit member assignments for employees who hold National Board Professional Teaching Standards certification but do not meet the state's definition of teacher.
Thank you, Ms. Beachley. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous vote. And next,
Thank you,
yes.
Carol.
Next,
We have some memorandum of understanding with the Washington County Association of Supervisors and Administrators. And I have Dr. Rachel Kane Kirkpatrick, president of the WCASA, joining us. So we would like to ask for your approval of the modification to Article 6.1, salary scale between the Washington County Board of Education and the Washington County Association of Supervisors and Administrators for fiscal year 2027.
Thank you, Ms. Baker. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve a memorandum of understanding between the Washington County Board of Education and the Washington County Association of Supervisors and Administrators regarding a modification of Article 6.1 salary scale.
Thank you, Ms. Murray. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to the vote. All those in favor? We have a unanimous vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you. One more MOU
Yep.
with WCSA. This is for additional considerations for administrators and supervisors between the Washington County Board of Education and the Washington County Association of Supervisors and Administrators.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
A memorandum of understanding between the Washington County Board of Education and the Washington County Association of Supervisors and Administrators regarding additional consideration for administrators and supervisors.
Thank you, Ms. Murray. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to the vote. All those in favor? We have another unanimous approval. Thank you very much.
I just want to say
Yes.
to the board, thank you for the collaboration and with the team from WCPS on this contract, I guess, agreement. It was good work, good conversation. We appreciate the work that we've done together and will continue to do moving forward.
And we thank you as well. You've been very, very willing to hear and negotiate. It's been great working with you guys. We thank you.
Thank you, Rachel.
And next, we have another one.
I have with me leadership from our Washington County Educational Support Personnel. We have Rodney Rector, the president, and Patty Felix from the board as well. And Patty, your treasurer, right? I thought so. She does everything, so I had to ask that question. So
She wears many hats.
she wears us out. So we're happy to bring and ask for your approval for an MOU for modification to the salary scale, as well as Article 6.13 job descriptions, Article 9.8 callback pay, Article 10.2 health insurance, and Article 13.2 volunteer transfers.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve the modifications to the salary scale in Article 6.13, job descriptions, Article 9.8, callback pay, Article 10.2, health insurance, and Article 13.2, voluntary transfers.
Thank you, Mr. Burkett. Do I have a second? Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to the vote. All in favor? We have another unanimous approval.
I'd just like to say thank you for your continued support for ESP.
We thank you guys as well. You guys also have been
We really
very
do
great to
appreciate
work
it.
with. Yes, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Very good. All right, next, we'll call up Mr. Bechtel for purchasing agenda.
Good evening, members of the board. Dr. Willow. Tonight I have 16 items for your review. The Purchasing Review Committee has reviewed these items and they are being recommended for approval, and staff is available if you have any additional questions.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve the consent agenda?
Thank you, Ms. Murray. Do we have a second? Thank you, Mr. Burkett. Do we have any discussion? Hear none, we'll move to the vote. All those in favor? You got off easy tonight.
Thank you.
Unanimous vote. Oh, you did?
Never mind.
Oh, you can ask it.
That's okay, I can't find it.
Oh. I apologize if I went too fast. Next, we have approval, first reading proposed changes to admin regulation, Washington County Board of Education's ethics regulations.
Good evening again. The Policy Committee reviewed the proposed changes to the Administrative Regulation BBFER at its public work sessions on March 11th this year, May 18th, and June 11th. Changes are being recommended to the Administrative Regulation to align with changes to COMAR. In addition, further changes include addition of timelines by which the Ethics Advisory Panel is to issue its advisory opinions, to acknowledge receipt of an ethics complaint, make a determination on the action to be taken with regard to the complaint, timelines for conducting a hearing if it's determined that one is necessary, as well as issuing a written decision if and when a hearing is held. So the committee is recommending that the board approve the first reading of proposed changes to Administrative Regulation BBFER.
Thank you, Ms. Senior. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve the first reading of the proposed changes to Administrative Regulation BBFE-R entitled Washington County Board of Education Ethics Regulations.
Thank you, Mr. Gesfer, and thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer, for the second. Do we have any discussion, any questions? Hearing none, we'll move to the vote. All those in favor? And we have another unanimous approval. Thank you, Ms. Senior. And next, we have another first read for policy JHCF.
Yes, the Policy Committee also met and reviewed proposed changes to Policy JHCF at its public work session on June 11th, 2026. The committee is recommending changes to the policy based upon a change to the state law on epinephrine availability and use requirements in schools. The change to the policy replaces the term auto-injectable epinephrine with emergency use epinephrine due to the availability of additional drug delivery methods. This will allow schools to administer intranasal epinephrine that, when appropriate, under the policy. And I will tell the members of the board that that Ms. Amy Edwards, who is our supervisor of school health programs, is here if anyone has any questions related to this proposed change. So with that, the committee is recommending the Board of Education approve the first reading of proposed changes to policy JHCF.
Thank you, Ms. Senior. Do we have a motion?
President Evans, I move to approve the first reading of the proposed changes to policy JHCF entitled Epinephrine and Bronchodilator Availability and Use Requirements.
Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Beachley. Do we have any discussion? All in favor? We have another unanimous approval. Thank you very much. Next, we have donation an anonymous donation to Smithsburg High School.
Good evening, President Evans, Dr. Willow, and board members. I am seeking approval to accept a donation of $75,000 to Smithsburg High School from an anonymous donor to support the Smithsburg High School auditorium renovation project.
Thank you, Mr. Wilcox. Do we have a motion?
President Evans, I move to approve a donation of $75,000 from a very appreciated anonymous donor.
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer and Mr. Gesford. Do we have any discussion? I will just say that an anonymous donation of that size is very admirable. Most people would want to have their name put on something for that, and this person's doing it anonymously, so it's very much appreciated. With no other discussion, we'll move to the vote. All those in favor? Another unanimous approval. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have approval of FY '27 local applications for federal funds.
President Evans, board members, and Dr. Willow, I present to you the local application for federal funds that is entitled the LAF Grant that is used to pay for the costs associated with providing special education and related services for students with disabilities within Washington County Public Schools for FY '27. There will be some updates. So the packet that you have in the application you have is correct, but I will be noting some updates on the slides for you. So as outlined in the executive summary, we have had an increase of 67 students receiving special education and/or related services from the previous year. As a result, WCPS received an increase in $29,143 compared to the FY '26 allocation. The next couple slides is showing the past 3 years comparison. So our total grant for this year was $5,973,286. The amount that goes into administration and business support is $112,400,000. And then the discretionary sub-grants was $182,674. And then the next couple of slides is just comparison to FY '26 and FY '25. So I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Dr. Gravelin. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve the LAFF grant 2026-2027 application combined total allotment of $5,879,704.
Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Gesford. Do we have any discussion?
Question. It says in here that there are 379 children in birth to K, ages 3 to 5. Is it not ages like 0? I don't think it's 0, but maybe like 1 to 5?
So, so it would go down to birth, but those are our students with IFSPs.
And so we saw 17, 18? Sorry, I was doing the quick math. Is that right?
I pointed that out. There's well over 10% of our students who have special needs. That's way too many. So you have quite a handful on your duties there, so we appreciate all that you do. Do we have any other discussion? Hear none, we'll move to the vote. All those in favor? We have another unanimous vote. Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
I do want to thank the special ed team is in attendance tonight. They're here supporting and honest. You know, we're very fortunate. We have a great special ed team with great leaders. And while, yes, our numbers have increased, it's an opportunity to do right by students. And next year, this budget that was approved not only complements this grant, but it gives us more opportunities for our students. So I want to thank our leaders, but I also want to thank this board for the support in the general budget that came with special ed. Our students deserve it, and I appreciate the work everyone's doing. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Like I said, that's well over 10% of our students. That's a lot in a pretty good-sized school district like this. So next, we will move on to our food nutrition budget for FY '27. Mr. Embley?
Evening, President Evans, members of the board, Dr. Willow. I'm here to present to you the FY27 budget for food nutrition services. So first up, talk a little bit about the current year recap. Our lunch participation is up this year, which is a positive sign for us, about 300 meals per day. And next year, we're going to anticipate another 175 meals per day increase. Unfortunately, breakfast participation is down, which has been trending down. We're about 250 meals per day down. However, next year, we're projecting about 125 per day increase over this year. Our team is looking at opportunities, programs, communications to parents, internal processes to make sure that we're maximizing all of our potential. Some of my new folks on the team have identified a few things that we're exploring this summer that I feel very confident that we'll be able to start a slight uptrend in breakfast participation. Our reimbursement rates, that are set by the feds increased as we expected the consumer price index. And we're anxiously awaiting this year's reimbursements. We don't get those till typically late July, early August. There's some rumors on the street that the reimbursements could look a little better than the consumer price index. However, the budget that I'm presenting is conservative and sticks with the normal consumer price index. We this year added 11 community eligibility schools where all meals are free. Of course, costs continue to increase, and we'll talk a little bit about that later in the budget presentation. And we did spend $300,000 from the fund balance invested in new and replacement equipment. I'll talk a little bit later. It was originally planned at $500,000. $200,000 of that with 3 pad freezer projects are going to be completed this summer, so it moves it into the next fiscal year. But it was all part of our spend down plan all along. Recap of what we're looking at next year. We plan to add another 5 community eligibility provision schools, and we will now have 31 of our schools will be in the free meals program for next year. So I think that's a great victory for us as we try to maximize that community eligibility program. And we also are looking at $450,000 from the fund balance, $200,000 of that I've already spoke about, to be invested in new and replacement equipment. And again, I'm talking a few minutes about some of our plans and share that with you. This slide just shows you the breakfast participation, and obviously, you can still see COVID there, where we dipped in participation. We battled back, had some slight dips. So again, we're looking to hopefully increase that participation next year. And lunch, we've been on a steady incline. Actually, we're up above any of our previous levels prior to COVID. So I'm really proud of the participation. I think the creativity in the menu. I know the Chipotle Bowl this year was a huge hit. And these numbers also are reflective of a year where we didn't have Williamsport High School students, which is one of our large high schools, in these numbers. So I keep that in mind as well as we go through this, and hope that doesn't happen again for us. The next 2 slides just are pie charts to show you, again, a majority of our revenue comes from federal sources, and the breakdown of the percentages of where our revenue comes from. And the same with expenses, of course, labor and food being our 2 largest expense categories. I'll spend a good bit of time talking about equipment and the investment and what we've done over the last 10 years, actually 15 years. As we reported, we did when Mr. Prue took over this department many years ago, we were significantly behind in continuing to invest in the equipment. So once you're behind and you get really behind, how are you going to get out of that? And really, it was thankfully that we did get that extra funding during COVID. We, in 5 years after next year, will have $4.186 million in equipment investments. And you can see in 10 years, we were just under $2 million. So we have done a lot of work in our kitchens, and hopefully you've been able to get out this year and see some of that work. I'll show you some pictures. This is a before and after of Williamsport High School. This particular project, I'm appreciative of the district's support with building that little blue wall. As you can see, and those of you that have been in the restaurant business, you don't go into a restaurant where you're served your meal in the dish room. And if you can see there, the before picture, that blue curtain is the dishwasher curtain. So as kids would be in there getting their lunches, the dish machine's going, the noise. And a lot of the old equipment was built, and you can see that this is 1/2 of the serving line on the left, and that is one giant piece of equipment. So what happens is those hot wells start going bad, and then they can't be fixed. Or you're going to spend a ton of money with custom stainless steel work to cut those out, drop new wells in. So we really started to look at, that's a waste of our money. And what we can do, repurposing our kitchens and using cold air merchandisers to go up instead of out because we don't have space to go out. So we've really been able to do some nice things with some quicker service items. And we still have the traditional line there on the far left where students get served their meal. Those other stations are grab and go. Similar, the 2 years prior, we did North Hagerstown High School. This was actually our first major renovation. The before and after, if you haven't been in there, it used to be a cave back in that kitchen. And for administration, once the kids got back in the back, they couldn't see them. And when you went back in there, it was a large crowd and you couldn't manage those students. So opening that area up, they've got a nice glass facade. Again, appreciating the support that we've had with some of these projects. This is one that we completed this year that I spoke about last year about our elementary schools, that we were taking a hard look at some of our elementary schools where, again, those serving wells are going bad. And we have, this particular school is Emma K. Daub. And if you notice on the left, the before picture, they had to have a staff member standing out on the front of the line because we didn't have anywhere to put the trays once the food was complete. So those little kids couldn't reach up and put the food down. And then when they did, you can see there's different levels for those trays to come down and spills. So we've redesigned the elementary line so that the stainless is all one level for the kids. We have a place to slide the trays, and it's much more efficient. So that's, just wanted to give you an idea of some of the things that we've been investing in. This is on top of all the ovens, dishwashers, I believe very firmly in reducing our disposables and using trays that, the new dish machines are energy efficient and very efficient versus the disposables. So that's just a little bit of a picture behind some of the things that we've done with the equipment over the years. This next year's projects includes pad freezers outside, Boonesboro High School, full renovation in their kitchen. And actually, 2 days before school ended, the freezer door fell off, completely fell off. That's how old it was and how much they've really band-aided some of these things together. So that project couldn't have happened at a better time. We talked a lot about fund balance over the years, and I wanted to give you some history. Leading up to COVID, I can remember vividly Mr. Prue and the hard work that he had been doing. And for many years, we were operating with $1 million fund balance or less. And I remembered when we got to $2 million fund balance just prior to COVID, and I think that was our goal all along, was to try to get to that $2 million mark, and could we ever get to it? And we finally got to it right before COVID hit, and we didn't know what was going to happen. And fortunately, we did get extra support during COVID. Then we had to spend down because you can only carry 3 months operating expenses in your fund balance. So then they gave us too much money, then we had to spend it down, which was great because we had all of this equipment that, where were we going to get that money for? And there's not enough grants out there. So we were able to really complete our 5- and 10-year equipment plans and maintain a solid fund balance. I know when I presented to the Finance Committee, there was some concerns about how long this spend down and how many years are we going to hear that you're going to lose $300,000 and $400,000. This is intentional spend down, and we intend to get to the point where we're breaking even and investing in the equipment. And we have plans that we will get there. So this, after next year in our budget, we are just slightly under the $4 million mark in a fund balance. And I think that is a healthy rainy day fund. Again, just wanted to make sure it's clear that we are not continuing to just lose money every year and that we're just going to ride this out and let that fund balance continue to go. We've worked very, very hard to get that fund balance to where it is. And I just feel that is a $4 million, a nice cushion for those rainy day, or, I can't predict in a year. And I will say, new equipment doesn't last as long as the old equipment. I'm finding that with appliances at home. So that we keep that in mind, but we have a plan. And I've got a great team behind me to work through this plan. And just wanted to report to the board that I do feel very firmly about our financial position and being able to maintain a healthy, without us coming to the board to take money away from the general fund. Meal prices. This is the inevitable. Yet last year, we did raise meal prices, and this year I am asking for a 20-cent meal price increase, keeping in mind a very small percentage of our students are on that paid meal status, with 31 of our schools being in the CEP program.
Mr. Emily, if I could, just for our listening audience, when we say that, what does that mean for all students in those schools?
So 31 schools, all students will receive free school lunch and breakfast, no cost, regardless of their income status.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So we wanted to give you a historical on from 2016 to current and proposal of our meal price increases to show, we have slowly increased. I know at one point one year that I know I got asked, are we not increasing enough? And we really tried to maintain smaller increases. So wanted to give you an idea of the meal price history. And then finally, a meal price comparison over the counties around us. Now, Allegheny County does have universal CEP. They have all their schools in that program. Montgomery County reported to me that they are asking for 30 cents this year and the next several years. She's already has a budget because they have not raised prices all along. They've chosen not to do so, and they are in that 30 cent per year for the next couple years. We are going to try to not do that. I'm asking for 20 cents. I believe it maintains. That 20-cent increase in lunch nets us only about $57,000. Breakfast is about $14,000. So it is still a minimal, small portion of this overall budget that we're talking about. With that, I believe that ends my presentation. I'll ask for approval of the budget, but I'll obviously open it up for questions that you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Embley. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve the Food and Nutrition Services fiscal year 2027 operating budget.
Thank you, Mr. Burkett. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Zetmeyer. Do we have any questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, we'll move to the vote. All those in favor? We have a unanimous vote. Thank you very much, Mr. Embley.
Thank you.
And next, we have naming rights for the Barbara Ingram School for the Arts Foundation. Call up Mr. Prue.
Good evening, board members and Dr. Willow. Board of Ed members may remember that you approved a naming rights agreement with the Barbara Ingram School for the Arts Foundation on November 3rd, 2020, to add the naming rights for brick pavers that compose the front sidewalk outside of the school on South Potomac Street. Tonight, we have one additional brick donation that has been submitted that I'm seeking your approval on.
Thank you, Mr. Prue. Do we have a motion?
President Evans, I move to approve the naming rights received and committed by the Barbara Ingram School for the Arts Foundation Brick Paver Program.
Thank you, Ms. Beachley. Thank you, Dr. Zetmeyer. Do we have any discussion?
How much does that cost for a brick?
$250?
Is that?
250. We looked at it the other day, and it was not on their website, and I didn't get back
Sorry.
to looking for it.
Any other discussion?
Thank you.
All those in favor? Unanimous vote. Thank you. Next, we have revised FY27 budget.
Thank you again, Mr. Evans. On April 21st, 2026, the Board of Education approved its fiscal year 2027 general fund operating budget. Since the approval of the budget, staff has revised the budget based on the final state aid allocations that have been received. As a result of the final calculations, state revenue decreased by $205,771, and local revenue increased by $86,582 for a net reduction of $119,189. Additionally, the allocation to National Board Certified Teachers is required to increase by $103,705. To balance the budget, staff is recommending reducing the line for classroom instruction transfer, in parentheses, HCC for Hagerstown Community College / private pre-K, by $222,896. The state is now billing county governments directly for private pre-K expense rather than using the school system as a pass-through entity. This expense line can be reduced for this reason. Additionally, staff is also recommending minor edits to several lines that are part of an annual allocation to schools where principals direct the funding to certain expenses. All of these edits are budget neutral. We're happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Mr. Prue. Do we have a motion?
President Evans, I move to approve the revised FY 2027 general fund operating budget.
Thank you, Dr. Zimmer. Do I have a second? Thank you, Ms. Murray. Do we have any discussion?
Yeah, I think we should make it more than 2-point font.
Sorry, ma'am. That's why we have glasses.
I don't have mine then. All right. If there's no further comment, we'll move to the vote. All those in favor? We have a unanimous approval. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
And next, we will talk about our 2026 EFMP, Educational Facilities Master Plan.
Good evening, board members. Tonight, we're seeking your approval of the 2026 Educational Facilities Master Plan. The plan was presented and discussed with the board at its June 2nd work session, and it was reviewed and supported by the Facility Enrollment Advisory Committee. Just a quick reminder of the 10-year plan includes 5 major projects: Downsville Pike Elementary School, which is coming along nicely out there. The addition to Jonathan Hager, who you're going to hear about next on the next agenda item. We're going to put the ed specs in front of you for your approval. A middle high school replacement project at Clear Spring, and 2 elementary school replacement projects. Based on this plan, the FY 2028 Capital Improvement Program will include funding requests for 3 of those large projects. Downsville Pike will get its last installment of funding from the Built to Learn Act. That's the Maryland Stadium Authority funding source that the state had set up. Also, we'll seek funding for construction of the Jonathan Hager Addition project and the start of a feasibility study for the Clear Spring Middle and High School project. In addition, we'll seek funding for 2 large capital maintenance projects, a chiller replacement at South High and a partial air conditioning HVAC replacement at North Hagerstown High School. So per the Code of Maryland Regulations, a master plan has to be approved by the board and submitted to the state by July 1st of every year. And we're here to answer any questions you still might have and seek your approval.
Thank you, Mr. Rollins. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve the 2026 Educational Facilities Master Plan.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Gesser and Ms. Beachley. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to the vote. All those in favor? We have a 5-0 unanimous vote. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And next, we'll move on to the aforementioned Hager Elementary Edition.
Good evening, board members and Dr. Willow. The Facilities Department is happy to be here this evening to present the education specifications for the addition at Jonathan Hager. We are seeking your approval for this. With us tonight is Mr. Aaron House, Principal Architect from Bushy Fight Moran Architects, and he will give you a presentation on the education specifications.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having me this evening. Just wanted to give you a very brief rundown of the process to date. The EdSpec Committee, who is comprised of members from the CES leadership, CES curriculum staff, operations staff, members of the staff at Jonathan Hager Elementary, some parents of school students at Jonathan Hager, members from the MSDE, and from the Interagency Commission on School Construction, and then obviously with the architectural firm. We got together on several occasions, but the first portion of the process in the developing the ed specs was a comparison of the Downsville Pike Elementary School ed specs to the prior ed specs for the original construction of Jonathan Hager. When we had developed that comparison list, we had our first ed spec meeting at Jonathan Hager Elementary, where we presented our findings and started the collaboration and discussion of all of the differences that we've seen and the trends in the educational specifications. From that initial meeting, then, we did conduct a walkthrough of the Jonathan Hager Elementary School with Principal Spade, and just went around and looked at how the school was being utilized and what spaces were being utilized for something different than their original intent. And all of that feedback from that walkthrough with Principal Spade was then kind of processed and refined and reviewed with the EdSpec committee at 2 separate meetings, which culminated with our final meeting on April 22nd. And from that, then we developed the spaces that are recommended for in the addition to basically expand the school from a 3-round to a 5-round school. This space chart is included in the ed specs. And then also in section 5 of the ed specs, we identified some of those spaces within the existing school that should be repurposed because of how the spaces were being utilized. When the school was originally constructed, the area was graded to the east of the existing school to anticipate the Phase 2 addition. So that is where we are proposing this addition to go, obviously. And just a very, very initial space concept showing the grouping or the clustering of grade levels and repurposing some of the existing classrooms into other grade levels and developing some type of connection corridor from the existing bus entrance down into the addition just to cut down on length of travel and time of travel for students and staff. The second floor will also contain primarily what we anticipate to be 2nd and 3rd grade students or classrooms with some support spaces and some vertical circulation, obviously. And from here, we will refine and further develop the overall project schedule, which includes the design, the bidding, and then the construction. We will put pencil to paper and start to refine the concept that you see in front of you into a schematic design and start to identify more closely some of those spaces within the existing school that would need to be repurposed, and also looking at some of the site amenities. And one thing that we heard a lot about in these meetings with the staff and with the parents is extending the student drop-off and pickup loop, and if there's ways that we can utilize that as in kind of a dual purpose through design and through the completion of the school. We're also looking at the location of the relocatable classrooms and how that kind of plays into the extension of the drop-off and pickup loop. And then obviously keeping an eye on the cost estimate. At this point would just be based off of square footage of the building. And then last but certainly not least is the site safety during construction. How do we separate construction activities from the student and staff? Because as you know, construction activities in an occupied school is something that is very delicate and something that needs to be addressed at the forefront. So with that.
So pending Board of Education approval, we would submit this to the Maryland State Department of Education for its review and approval. We'll move on to the schematic design phase. We'll as Aaron said, we'll start putting pen to paper, creating sketches of some of these spaces. Part of the reason this ed spec's a little different is because we want to end up with a 5-round school with classrooms clustered. We want to make sure all grade levels are by one another, all areas are within reasonable realm. And that's why we had to go through and look at this a little bit differently than what we would on a conventional brand new school. It just took a little bit more forethought. So it was a little bit of chicken and egg, trying to figure out where we should be. And then obviously, of course, with the relocatables, with construction, with figuring out where we're going to have paid play areas, everything during construction, a lot of discussion with staff, but it was all very good. So we're happy with the final document, and based on MSDE and the Interagency Commission's participation on this, we expect to see their support with it as well. So.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Do we have a motion?
We have the approval, I'll ask for the approval of the Jonathan Hager Elementary School additional educational specifications.
Thank you, Mr.
Second.
Western. Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to the vote. All those in favor? We have unanimous vote. Thank you very much for your time, gentlemen. Appreciate it. And next, we will move on to personnel action. Oh, whoop, just kidding. Just kidding. Appointment of Board of Ed's Legal Services Association with MAID. Who's that? Oh, that's me.
That's you. I move to approve the appointment of our president, Daryl Evans, as a nominated individual to serve as the Washington County Board of Education's representative on the Maryland Association of Boards of Education and Legal Service Association, along with our legal counsel.
If I'm not here for the discussion, is that what happens? You get appointed?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. Thank you, I think, Mr. Gesford. We will, I guess, is there any discussion? And I make a bad joke for all those because I know people will go and say there was no discussion about this. So I'll let you know in November. Yeah, I'll let you know in November. Very good. Any discussion on this? We'll move to the vote. All those in favor? All right, we have a unanimous vote. I should have voted against it. Now we'll move on to personnel action.
All right. Good evening again. I'm here to ask for your approval of personnel action discussed in closed session earlier today.
Do I have a motion?
Move to approve the personnel actions dated Tuesday, June 16, 2026, as presented in closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Burke, and thank you, Dr. Zentmeyer. All those in favor?
Okay, I didn't hear it.
We have a
Yeah, I'm good.
Mike, you're good? All right, we have a unanimous vote.
All right, and I want to go ahead and share some exciting updates. As I shared, it's an honor to step into the superintendent role July 1st, and part of that is the piece of working to assemble the senior cabinet. And I tonight am happy to share that we have two new chief academic officers. Dr. Heath Wilcox, who started as in our district as a band teacher, believe Boonesboro High School, and then on to South High, and Dr. Jana Palmer, who I believe third grade Salem. Okay, so third grade Salem, as teachers, worked their way through as assistant principals, and then executive directors. Now, I want to be clear here because I want to make sure that everyone is cognizant that these are not new positions. Dr. Palmer and Dr. Wilcox will continue to keep their duties as executive director, but what they will take on is the curriculum side of the house. Currently, in my role as deputy superintendent, I oversee curriculum, student services, ESSA, Blueprint, and a host of other departments. What this past year has provided us is an opportunity, which I think has been a great opportunity, where curriculum and school leadership work hand in hand. And so these positions are budget neutral. And that's important because I know that we are lean at central office, and we wanted to do this in a way that when we put senior cabinet together, knowing where we landed with raises, knowing what we were able to do, it was important to us that we kept things budget neutral. And so, but I'd like to do a round of applause and congratulate Dr. Palmer, Dr. Wilcox. They're going to do an amazing job for us, and I'm so excited to have them on our senior cabinet. So the second part to that is that the rest of my position will be posted tomorrow. It is Chief of District Services. There will no longer be a Deputy Superintendent. We're in a position where we have the same number of senior cabinet. They're just chiefs. They're the same. There is no number two. And this person will oversee, of course, ESSA. They will take on facilities maintenance, student services, public information, professional learning, and other areas. So again, for our listening audience, our senior cabinet positions stay the same. I'm hopeful that we'll have strong internal candidates that will apply, and we hope to bring back a person here for our July meeting. So again, congratulations, Dr. Wilcox and Dr. Palmer. We're so excited to see you in your new role. Okay, I have some exciting stuff that, and I want to give a shout out to Dr. Savine. We had a 250 celebration in Spirit Week, and I think he actually got this idea from another school system, and so this was really his thing. It's the first time we did like a Spirit Week around this theme, and so credit goes to his ideas, and our staff and students bought into it. And so as we shared previously, June 1st through June 5th, we did Spirit Week, where we featured themes highlighting our nation, Maryland heritage, military appreciation, community pride. And what are we celebrating? It's the 250th anniversary of the United States, Maryland and Washington County. And so that was awesome. Our staff got into it. And I think it helps make those connections to what we're learning when we also take it beyond curriculum and we build that community engagement. And so building off of that, I do want to share what an awesome opportunity our Tech High students partnered, and I want to give a shout out to our CTE instructors, Dylan Brown and Mr. Chad Sechrist from Tech High. They worked on a renovation project, a Veterans War Memorial at Marty Snook Park. And so they had the ability to construct a masonry wall. They installed granite monuments and displaying veteran plaques. And I think what's cool, I want to give a thank you to Sweeney Masonry, who actually came in as a community partner and taught our students. And I think what a great way to give back. And so shout out to everyone that was involved in that project. Not only did students learn the process, but again, the connections to what's important as we honor our veterans. And so meet the superintendent and join the conversations. Ms. Anderson and Ms. Slays, give them credit for the Community Matters. One of the things that we wanted to continue the conversation around is not just meeting the superintendent, but also having a topic or a theme. And so what I'm presenting tonight are 4 different dates where we want to first talk about raising responsible digital citizens, which we'll talk about, understanding the school budget. And it's timed that is in September, preparing students for the future, where we'll talk about literacy and math and even get into some of our career readiness, CTE. And then in November, we'll cap the fall semester off with safe, supported, and connected schools. The hope here is really to get community input. This is not where you'll come and just listen to me. It is an opportunity to listen to district leadership, but also give community input. And I think that's so important. So we're excited to roll this out. Topics that matter, community that matters, and you'll see more information on this in July that'll be coming out. This is open to anyone. Board members, parents, guardians, community members, if there's a topic, and the way it'll be designed, as I said, is to be able to collect input as well. So we're excited to share that. So what are we going to do at our first one? I can give you a little more details. What does it mean to be a responsible digital citizenship? Together we'll discuss what we talked about tonight, reducing screen time in schools, teaching digital citizenship. What does that look like in our Washington County curriculum? How can we continue to improve? One of the things that I think many of you got to meet my children at the superintendent's celebration, but I've learned with having an 8th grade daughter and another one going into middle school, with different ways that parents can monitor devices during the day. No, not spying on the messages. I'm talking more about being able to put restrictions that only allow for them to text me, turning social media off during the day. These are things that automatically come with an iPhone or Android, but as I've been talking through this with other parents, there's just not an awareness of that. So the hope here is the ability to really work with parents, talk about the why, educate, and so we're very excited, and taking advantage of some funds. Anybody that joins us tonight, you heard me earlier give different quotes and different data points. Curriculum and instruction board members, you have received a copy of this book, but anyone that joins us that night will get the Anxious Generation book, where we will talk more about where we didn't get into tonight, independent play, and some of the other sleep disruptions and other things. And again, the goal here is not to tell people what to do. It's not to walk away saying that all screen time is bad time. It's instead, how do we build a healthy community? Where do we find the balance? And so I'm hopeful that I know it's summer, I know it's July, but at 6 p.m. at South High, and I believe we'll have a QR code that's coming, and the goal there is just to make sure that we have seating and numbers for everyone. Hopefully that's a problem that we'll have, is that there'll be a lot of people that'll be interested, but I also know July can be tricky. 2, I guess, business meetings ago, maybe 1, maybe I'm confusing it with a work session, we did adjust our budget for Chromebook reduction. And we heard that earlier tonight. So I think it's important that we put this information out now. We went from 1-to-1 in elementary to 2-to-1. And what that means is for every 2 students, we have 1 device. And so I want to give Dr. Palmer and Dr. Wilcox credit working with school administration and others, curriculum folks. We did, what does that actually look like? Earlier tonight, the board approved carts for storage and to be able to charge. Devices are not going home on a regular basis. And I say that because there could be a scenario where we allow a device to go home if a student needs it for an academic purpose, but the majority of our devices will stay every day at our schools in elementary and middle. We agree that pre-K and K, there's very little that we actually need devices for in there. So what you're going to see is that in grades 1, what does it look like with 6 devices in a classroom? Well, as I've shared, we're very blessed in curriculum where most of our elementary resources are actually in print. We use them as part of learning stations, small group activities, and it's very rare that they are used across the whole entire classroom. So you're going to see a smaller number of devices in grade 1. Where we start to pick up is that grade 2 to 5, and as Mr. Evans shared, there are some testing assessments that have to be given online. And so that's probably most of where they're used at in elementary, is honestly more for the online piece. But even in grades 2 through 5, it's still that 2-to-1 ratio. So this is a change that's moving forward as those budgeted materials for Chromebooks were actually moved over to compensation for staff. Secondary will have a CART model, and the CARTs will be in math, English, language arts, science, and social studies. And I want to be clear here that even in those core areas, we have hard copy materials in most cases. And so I say that doesn't mean that they have to be on a Chromebook every day or every every minute of the period. It's a as needed based on the professional judgment of the teacher on what students need. Many of our math ELA resources come with hard copy materials. This board and previous board has supported that. Oftentimes when you see a curriculum that's been approved, it comes with both the online component and the hard copy. We've not walked back on hard copies. So I think this will be important. I know we're going to share this out with the community so that our staff are prepared, and I feel confident working with the curriculum team, our curriculum for elementary and middle stay the same. High school's very different. We're still one-to-one, and that doesn't mean that we necessarily need to be on devices all day. But what it does mean is when we're in dual credit courses, CTE courses, there's just so much diversity in the high school experience that you could be a day where you're using it more frequently, and the next day you're not using it as much. But the high school model will still say one-to-one for right now based on our current needs within the curriculum. And with that, I think the last thing that we have is something we do every June. It's the end of school year, right? And we had a lot of successes this year. But we always want to take a moment to congratulate the class of 2026. And so I think we're going to end with a brief graduation video that highlights all of our graduations.
Good evening and welcome graduates, parents, families, and friends of the class of 2026. As we gather here together one last time, I want to not only remind everyone of their ability to persevere, but also encourage everyone not to be held captive by fear. Our ability to overcome issues globally, locally, and even the battles we fight personally that seem to go unnoticed is proof that we are capable of enduring adversity.
We will always be the class of 2026. We did this together. This is a part of our legacy.
Seniors, it is with great joy that I now declare you graduates of Clear Spring High School. Congratulations.
Class of 2026, and thank you to our parents, our staff, our guardians, our community for everything that they have done to support this class. And with that, that concludes the Deputy Superintendent's report for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Willow. We will move on to reports of the board. I guess we'll start with facilities.
We have nothing to report because we won't meet until July.
Very good. I had skipped over curriculum.
Till August.
All right, August is curriculum, finance.
Our next meeting will be held July 30th at 8:30 here at CES.
And HR?
HR met last week. We had Brandy Stamen, who is the health coach, excuse me, for Washington County Public Schools. And we also had Nate Littlefield, the client success manager from Marathon Health, gave us an update on Marathon Health. And then
Regina Keller and Sandy Hammond gave us updates on the ANS and ESP evaluations for FY '27. Our next meeting will be Tuesday, September 8th at 9 a.m.
Thank you. And Policy Committee also met last week, and some of the things everything we discussed was presented in today's meeting, and our next meeting will be on July 21st, right before our closed session, to discuss the first reads and any potential comments we may receive from that. Next, we'll move on to miscellaneous business, future agenda items. Y'all can look at that at your leisure. If anyone does have anything they would like to add, please let a member of the Agenda Planning Committee know, and we'll be sure to get that on there as quickly as we can. And finally, we will move on to board member comments. Anyone want to start?
I'll start. I really want to endorse reading The Anxious Generation. Despite the outcry from my grandchildren when cells were no longer allowed in my home, it is probably one of the best resources to understanding screen time. School budget, speaking of understanding, is that session going to be 6 hours long? I was just curious.
Mr. Prue is presenting, so there's a good chance it will go a little long.
Have a safe, happy summer. Learn it not on a device, but learning the art of playing outside again.
Yeah, go ahead and start. I'd like to say congratulations. I'm sorry that this person's leaving. Cheryl Steiner, who has been here, 50 years, I think. So, man, Cheryl, you have really been a mainstay of this system, and we sure are going to miss you. So I just want to say congratulations to her and happy retirement. But on a better note, I am thankful for Dr. Willow accepting the superintendent's position. I'm very excited. The community is very excited. I followed a little bit with Facebook, and it blew up. Everybody loves you. And, I mean, your staff, students that you've touched through their learning years, we're very fortunate. We've had some great superintendents, and I'm looking forward to working with another great superintendent. So that's, I'm thankful for you very much.
Thank you, but as I've said, I've been blessed with an amazing team, so.
And then finally, I would just like to say, please go out and celebrate the 250th anniversary of the United States. We have so many great things around Washington County that we take for granted, but please get out. There's so many fireworks that'll be planned. There's a big one down at the Ag Center. Every town has something, so get your families out, enjoy this time of celebrating the 250th anniversary of the United States. That's all I have.
I just want to say a few weeks ago, I rode with bus drivers Vanessa Wood and also Bob Craddock. We went on several runs together. I also spoke with several bus drivers at the bus lot. And then Vanessa and I had lunch, and she really gave me some good information. So I will pass that on when I get a chance. And I was so happy to be able to be at the Innovate Ed graduation, the Marshall Street School Job Development Program graduation, the Technical High School graduation, and South High. Those are exciting times, and it's so great to see these young people go on and do great things in their lives.
I'm super excited about the Community Matters. I might be attending those myself. And also, you mentioned a book. I forget the author's name, but I also just want to put a plug in. I think I did during a work session, but an organization, Closed Screens, Open Minds, has a lot of similar content, and it is on your screen, which is contradictory. But anyways, if you want to see quick videos and some information about closing screens and opening your mind, it's there.
Hope everyone has a good summer. I'm going to miss July's meeting. I had a vacation scheduled with family and extended family, so I'll be missing July's meeting.
Thank you, and I'll end with Congratulations to all the seniors. I had the pleasure of being able to go out to Boonesboro, and I'll tell you, we're going to have to do something with that sound system out there. There's a little bit of a delay out there on that sound system, and it really messes you up when you're reading stuff. I think I was making up words that weren't even written on the paper, so we'll go and see what we can do to fix that. No, it was great. The graduates all across the county obviously did great things, and to Mr. Gesford's point, 250th celebration means there's quite a bit going on this summer, and he mentioned the Ag Center. The city of Hagerstown is doing their celebration on July 9th, and 50 years ago, I assume in conjunction with the city of Hagerstown, the Antietam Exchange Club buried a time capsule that will be opened on July 9th. That time capsule was buried in 1976 in conjunction with the 200th. So I went and asked Dr. Wilcox to go and talk to Tech High and BISFA, since those are the two schools that represent the whole county. And Tech High went and made a clock.
That is so cool.
So they made a clock, and on the top of it, it's got the Washington County, I guess, flag, if you will, symbol, emblem, and on the bottom is the Maryland flag. So I hope, what's that? And on the back, it just says designed and crafted by the carpentry students of Boyd J. Michael III Technical High School. So Dr. Michael's name, I guess, will live on even 50 years from now. So, but I thought this was really cool. So I was excited to see this. I really hope it does fit in the time capsule. I don't know that the opening is going to be that big, but I think it will. I think it will. And the BISFA students, I'm just going to show the one thing because this is the easiest for us to see, but a bunch of students wrote a couple of creative writing essays, and those will go in there. And this is the program from their play that they put on, Hadestown, the teen edition. So, and in it's got all the sponsors and the students in it, and just really cool to kind of go and see what'll happen. I don't know about anyone else. I probably won't be here in 50 years, but knowing that we did that, I'm sure, I know the students will be here in 50 years, so they'll always get to enjoy it. So, but with that, I hope everyone has a great summer. There's a lot going on. Be safe and happy and healthy out there. If there's nothing else for the good of the order, we'll adjourn the meeting. All right. Have a great day, guys.